Yeah, so fish with teeth specialized for scraping algae occur in both Flower Lake and Blue Lake. Some biologists argue that because such specialized characteristics are rare, fish species that have them, blah, blah, blah. So if they're
Wait,
close to...
that's like the important part.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, if they have them, they are closely related. And if they are closely related, then they have evolved only once. And then it concludes...
okay, if closely related, then evolved only once. Hannah, are you cool with that, right? Yep, then what?
And if they have them, it's closely related. So I don't know if you want to put that in.
Sure. Yeah, that's what they believe, right? If they have them, then they're closely related. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically what happens is they go with a false contrapositive, and they say it's not closely related.
Yes, they said, in essence, it's not closely related. Therefore,
it must have evolved more than once, which means it didn't evolve once.
yes.
So, the answer.
What do you think? Did you see this flaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But like, I guess I didn't realize that they were mixing up the contrapositive rather than the
Okay. Well, so what is this called right here?
That is the
Necessary condition.
yes,
Condition. Mm-hmm.
Sufficient condition.
Sufficient condition. So we know that this is true, right?
Yeah.
What did they do with this?
So that would be the necessary assumption of the contrapositive.
Wait, hold on. So, let's not talk about assumptions for a half second. Let's just talk about conditions. So we have sufficient condition and necessary condition, right?
Yeah.
And this premise right here is it referring to this one or is it referring to that one?
It's saying that it's sufficient condition.
Yeah, it's negating the sufficient condition, right? When you negate the sufficient condition, does anything happen? No. So this person, by negating the sufficient condition, must have been thinking that it was what?
That it was a sufficient condition.
No, that it is a sufficient condition.
Yeah.
But when this person negated it, they must have thought it was a necessary condition. So Hannah, let's just pretend for a second that the argument said this: if once, then closely related, right? It didn't say that, right? But if it did say this and then you negated this,
Oh, okay.
then you could conclude this.
Yes.
Right? So this person treated a sufficient condition, because it really is a sufficient condition, as if it were actually a necessary condition.
Okay.
And so then once you see that false contrapositive issue, you can just look for the answer that talks about necessary and sufficient. What'd you end up choosing?
I chose B.
Infers that just because the evidence for a particular claim has not been confirmed, the claim is false.
Yeah, and I wasn't like completely happy with B, but I just did not bother diagramming it, so I just chose it.
Yeah. So the first part of answer choice B is concerning because I don't see anything here that says that the evidence for a particular claim has not yet been confirmed. Where did you see that?
Like whether or not they're closely related.
Oh, but the genetic tests show that the two algae scraping species, though possibly related, are not closely related. So wait, the tests show that. So you're saying that it needs to be confirmed, like by some other test?
Really, I just didn't read it close enough.
Okay, just trying to understand what you were thinking. But yeah, it looks like it was confirmed, right?
Yeah.
So.
How do you know it's a condition and not an assumption?
So if-then statements have a sufficient condition and necessary condition, right? That's totally different from assumptions. Assumptions are, they can be this, right? Like you could be assuming that this is true, or you could be, not in this argument because it's actually stated explicitly, or you could assume an entire if-then statement. So then the entire if-then statement would either be a necessary assumption or a sufficient assumption, or neither, or both.
So because it's like explicitly stated, it's necessary?
It's not, no. Think about it this way, conditions and assumptions are just totally different things. We're describing some conditions as necessary conditions and some conditions as sufficient conditions. Because in if-then statements, the if-then statement basically establishes a relationship between two conditions and tells you that this one is sufficient and that one is necessary. It has nothing to do with assumptions. And so, and some assumptions are sufficient, and some assumptions are necessary, some assumptions are neither. And so we're using these same terms, but they're not really like related. Like the word sufficient means sufficient in both cases,
Right.
but yeah. Is that,
I'm gonna
it's a very,
study it.
it's a very common confusion. Here's one last little thought
Yeah.
about that. It's sort of like when I say sufficient condition and say sufficient assumption. Those are two totally different things. Just like a red car is very different from a red boat, right? Like the word red means the same thing in both cases. It's just describing what kind of car it is, what kind of boat it is. Sufficient condition is that kind of condition in an if-then statement. A sufficient assumption is that kind of an assumption, but the condition and the assumption don't really have anything to do with each other. Okay. And here, because it's explicitly stated, we're not dealing with assumptions. We're dealing with an if-then statement, which will then have conditions. Okay. Any other questions on that one? Okay.